Geminis, welcome to your monthly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for June of 2016. I'm your host, Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so Gemini, this month we got a lot going on, a lot of aspects, and starting off this month, we've got your ruler direct. So I think you guys are forward thinking. I think there's momentum, but it's still a spiritual time because we've got the Sun and Venus and soon to be Mercury in your 12th house. So coming into this month with the Sun and Venus in your 12th, I think it's a good time to be getting that alone time, that rest and relaxation, that R&R, that spiritual time, that meditative time, and that's a great source of energy for you guys this month. I think you can also enjoy that quite a bit. And a lot of that's going to start to shift once we have the Sun and Venus shift signs about mid-month, which I'll talk about going into your first house. So a good time to do that because it is around the corner in terms of where I think there will be more forward-moving energy for your goals, your intentions, and those kinds of things. Now your ruler at the beginning of the month is in the 11th house, and I think you guys last month learned a lot about either community groups or friends for some of you, and others your hopes and wishes and your ideals. Maybe you were modifying that because that's where you had Mercury retrograde. So now Mercury's direct, and I think a lot of that stuff that you've been reflecting on is now starting to move forward for you in that 11th house. Again, it could be your hopes, wishes, your intentions for the future, as well as anything that you consider a group or organizational aspect of your life. Now on the 4th, we got the new moon, and this is the new moon in your 12th house of spirituality. It's going to be forming a grand cross, so it is a good new moon to be open to challenge. The grand cross is about taking action. It's about being open to limitation and working hard. And I think this is specifically involving where, again, maybe you can have more of this faith and trust and letting go, you know, energy, which comes from presence. It comes from getting that alone time and connecting to God and your true inner spiritual self. So I think it's excellent to do that. Again, anything you might have to do to take action to make that happen, I think will be very valuable. And I think you can actually, again, enjoy it because this new moon is going to be conjoining Venus in that 12th. So enjoyable, yet maybe some things you got to do there. Now on the 7th, you've got Mercury then going into that 12th house. And so for the whole month, you're going to still have your ruler here in the 12th, helping you learn more about the importance of faith and trust and all that 12th house stuff. All right, maybe paying attention to your dream space, seeing what your deep psyche is telling you, re-examining yourself, your anxieties, where you can heal yourself spiritually. Have more acceptance in your life, basically, is what the 12th is about. It's where we really let go and surrender, and then through that acceptance, there's a tremendous amount of peace in that process. So I think some good things to think about. But like I said, about mid-month, there will be more of that forward-moving energy for your goals and things like that. Now on the 9th, we've got the North Node trining up to Pluto, which is a very powerful trine, in fact. And this is all about these life changes, which have been unfolding for you guys in terms of your communication. All right, there's been this new shift this early part of the year in terms of you guys putting energy towards either your communication, learning, reading, writing, sharing, all of that kind of stuff, which is your house, right? It's the house of intellect, it's the house of communication. It's all about learning with this, and I think you have been, especially with Jupiter now direct in this area. There's opportunities here, right? There's opportunities to learn, read, write, share, communicate, and I think around the 9th it can be very powerful. I think there can be some deep transformations occurring in a positive sense that your life path is shifting for you to really head into a new direction involving those things. Now on the 12th, we've got Mars trining up to Chiron, so there is some healing taking place in an easy sense here around the 12th. And I think this is healing your guys' self-expression, because your self-expression is going through this month, and just like last month, this bit of reflection, right? You got Mars retrograde in the 5th. You guys are very direct and very assertive, I think, with your self-expression, your creative things, maybe for some of you, your hobbies and your interests. But it's good to be re-examining that, rehashing, and rethinking about those things. And I think through that and through expressing yourself and maybe doing creative things or getting involved in the playful, lighthearted side of life can be very healing for you this month, specifically around the 12th. Now on the 14th, we've got Neptune going retrograde, and this has been a Neptune in your 9th house of your life path. So this has been seeing the importance of letting go, again, the faith and trust along the life journey specifically, and maybe specifically relating to what's possible in life, because the possibilities, they might be a bit foggy with Neptune, and the more we try to figure it out, the more confusing it gets. So it's about letting go, seeing where the life path takes you. But you've already been doing that, so there's nothing new with that. But I think now in terms of reflecting on that, reflecting on the importance of these more spiritual aspects of things, specifically with life and your life direction. Now, 17th and 18th has Saturn scoring up to that Neptune. Okay, so Saturn has been helping you build your routine, your health, your diet, your regimens for about a year now, off and on. So there's been this discipline here, and I think it's a good month, it's just a good year and onward to do that, to develop your routine and your regimens and your work life and your crafts. But here it's saying that maybe there's some uncertainty about it, maybe there's some doubts about it, and to, again, let go. That's the Neptune energy, is to surrender it. And it may not be easy because it's a square, but again, being open to challenging ourselves, this is where we can really build it. And what we're building, what you're building, I think, is a greater sense of enjoyment of peace through your work, or peace in your daily life, or with your routine, whatever you do on a daily level, right? So letting go is the challenge, but through that there can be a lot of peace, and it can actually help your work or whatever it is align more with who you are on that soul level. Now, also on the 17th and 18th, Venus is going to go into Gemini. So there is this shifting of energy, and this is your guys' first house. So there's a lot now from the 17th, 18th, and then on the 20th, once the sun goes in there, there is this prana, there's this energy. And I think there's whatever this earlier, transformational stuff is that I think you're just maybe reflecting on with life, or you're just having a bit more of an easygoingness. Now the energy starts to build, and it's all happening in steps, because again, it's going to be going into next month. But here, I think you can be enjoying yourself, enjoying relationships, feeling good, looking good is sometimes the case with Venus. And then by the 20th, starting to focus on your goals and your intentions, and where you can start to take action can be a great source of energy for you. Now, also on the 20th, Jupiter is going to conjoin up to the North Node. So this is more expansion, more possibilities. This happened back in January for the first and second time. Now this is the third and final time. So now there's this final culmination, final awareness about insight relating to your life path direction of communication, or of learning, or of teaching, or of sharing. It could be sales, is another third house thing. It could have to do with siblings. Basically anything in your immediate environment, or involving peers in some sense, or learning. So a good time to move forward, as it has been, but I think specifically around the 20th, there could be some opportunities there. There could be some information, there could be some insight. You guys could be sharing your philosophy, your worldview through your communications, whatever it might be. It's a very nice transit, and thinking back to January in terms of what they may have been for you personally could give you some indications of what this might be. Now on the 20th as well, we got a full moon, and this full moon is going to be right on the cusp between Sagittarius and Ophiuchus, which is your 6th and your 7th house. So there's an illumination now and a cultivation of, on one hand, your relationships. And for those of you who've been involved with anything relating to your interpersonal relationships for the past 6 months, this could be a high point, this could be awareness, could be insight coming in at this time, and also with your work, okay, which is great because of all the energy that's taking place there with Saturn. So now culmination with your work, and so there has been anything over the past 6 months, but in either case, you guys are seeing it. You have awareness about it. And again, the health, the diet, the routine can really come to the forefront for you guys to take that action with that. Now on the 26th, Jupiter is going to be trining up to Pluto. So again, another powerful transit in a very positive way, where I think you guys are changing your worldview about the importance of communication, or of the importance of your everyday, immediate environment, right? And your mind and your intellect could be getting a really, you're seeing things in a new light, a new perspective, right? That can really change your worldview, change the way you see things, specifically with your communication and practical knowledge. So that's going to be on the 26th, can be very powerful, a good day to really dive deep within self to see where you can see things in a new light. Now on the 27th, Chiron is going to go retrograde. So this is a reflection, I think, in terms of your career for about the next 6 months, in terms of maybe some healing that you guys can do with that, because it's been now this new healing kind of energy recently, the past few months, with Chiron going into your 10th house. So seeing where you might feel a bit wounded, or there might be some insecurities about your career or your public life or something to do with your productive life to now reflect on and do that inner healing for about the next 6 months. But it's nothing new. It's just this shift where it becomes more internalized. Now on the 29th, Mars goes station direct, so there's a bit more of this motivation and drive shifting by the end of the month. And again, this is specifically involving those routines, or excuse me, your self-expression. So with your self-expression, all that reflection you guys have been doing in terms of what your passions are, your interests are, where you can assert your ideas or whatever it might be, there's a lot of this now insight you've gained that you can start to apply. All right, so it's a great month for most of it learning about your self-expression, but by the end of it, applying it, expressing it, creating is really what the 5th house is about. And then really tapping into that playful, lighthearted side of life, which can be very motivating for you going into next month. All right, Gemini, so have a fantastic month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next month.